Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast, where we elevate marketing leaders inside and out. I'm your host, Veronica Rami, master marketer, executive leader, and mentor to ambitious marketing leaders wanting to advance their careers. Each episode is filled with genuine, unscripted conversations with some of the world's top marketing experts, accomplished leaders, and industry trailblazers representing brands, both large and small. Our goal with this podcast and everything we do is to help you master your role, nurture your team, prioritize your well-being, and evolve into an industry-leading Rainmaker. This is the Rainmaker Podcast. Welcome back to the Rainmaker Podcast. Man, do I love this next guest. Okay, you might not have heard of her yet, but you should, right? Brooke Sellas from B Squared Media is one of my favorite people. She's a phenomenal speaker. She's an agency owner, but she is a social media expert of like 15 years who doesn't think about social media the way that you and I and the world does. We had an entire conversation around social media in regards to customer, right? Social care, inserting yourself intentionally, proactively in conversations where you should be the answer, but you are not a witness to. So she gave really great examples like of Delta and different brands that she's worked for, like where if somebody's asking about the best printer possible, how great would it be if somebody was there to represent you when you're not in the like virtual room? It's one of my favorite social media conversations because it's unlike most that are out there. And I think genuinely a lot of us, if you're into social selling or you want to be more profitable from social media, but actually be able to quantify the results, this is a podcast you're going to want to listen to and definitely forward. So without further ado, please welcome my friend, Brooke Sellas. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Just so our listeners know, we literally are doing a double header. So hopefully there's no weird connotation with that. But I just recorded a podcast for your podcast. Then we took a quick 10-minute like eating, coughing break.
Scarfing down our
food.
food.
And now we're coming back to talk about you. You got to talk to me about my agency life, and now I get to talk to you about your social media life as an agency owner. So it's just great. It's great.
Full circle. It's one of those win-win-wins. Those are my favorite.
Well, and we're friends and we're like energetically like on the same page already. So we're just jiving, just so everybody knows that if you're picking up a cool energy. But yeah, I was right before I pushed record. I'm like, we've talked about social media on the Rainmaker podcast before, but what I like about you, yes, you are a social media expert. Yes, you render social media services for clients. Got it. However, I think when most people converse around social media, it's growth on the prospect side, like followers, and hopefully they become customers, but it's a lot of like that front loading marketing effort.
Yeah.
When you go to your website, your agency website, B Squared, right? It's actually a lot of emphasis on customer side and using and leveraging social media for customer data, customer engagement and service and whatnot. And I'm like, ooh, we haven't really talked about that. So just so everybody's on the same page, define what that means in your world. Like, what does that mean when I say social media on the customer side?
Yeah. So we call it social media customer care or social care. And for us, it's a holistic view at your customer's journey on social media. So you could say on digital, but we're specific saying social media because we know that more and more people are using social media to research brands, to research new products, to ask their peers about certain products or brands, to look at the brand conversations that are happening on social. And through that holistic lens, what we're trying to do is proactively, which is the key word there, attract and retain clients through our social media efforts. So essentially it's social media customer experience, which is all the way through the funnel, which, works all the way from awareness and acquisition, all the way down through loyalty, and then going into like advocacy and, brand loyalty.
Okay. Let's play Mythbusters because I feel like I want to make sure that I understand, but also people understand in listening to this conversation, like all of the things that they could do to leverage this. Because as soon as you said, customer care, social media customer care, I'm like, uh-oh, that means like some jerk is going to Twitter, well, X, formerly known as Twitter. Nobody still says that, but like, anyways, he's tweeting that like, Delta lost my bag again. I hate Delta. And so I think of that more in like a reputation management container, but that's not what you're talking about. Like,
yes.
What more are we talking about here?
It's the yes and of that, right? So that's very reactive. We can sit around and wait for our, angry customers to come
Mhm.
bash us on social all day long, especially if you're a large brand that has a lot of brand conversations happening on social. Being proactive means you're going out and you're trying to find conversations throughout that customer journey where they're not only talking about your brand, your products, your services, your stakeholders, your other customers, but where you're also trying to join conversations where somebody's saying, let's say you are a Delta, right? And somebody is saying, like, who has the best loyalty airline program out
Mhm.
there? I want to know. You're actively joining that conversation as Delta and you're saying, like, hey, here are the facts. I'm not trying to sell you, Veronica, but we have been named the top loyalty, whatever. And here's some information on how that works, right?
Mm. Oh my gosh.
So it's like consultative selling,
Yeah.
right? That's what I call it. It's consultative selling, and a lot of people get the word customer care confused because it has the word customer. So you think it doesn't involve acquisition, right? But then people get consultative selling confusing because they think, "Oh, we're selling all the time." No. Consultative selling is actively listening and just being as helpful as possible to get to a sale.
Well, because like that's what we want. Like I can't, especially the first example that popped to my mind when you gave your example was like how many Facebook groups, like I think a lot of us were like, I want to be the answer in the Facebook group. So when somebody goes to the Facebook group and says, what's a perfect beach house in Surf City, North Carolina? Like, ooh, I wish I was present for that question because I'm like, my Airbnb would be the perfect
Yes.
answer for that. Or I rely on my customers, be like, oh, I just stayed here. You should definitely check it out. But
Yes.
you're the in between.
Yeah. And all of those things, right? Because if we're keeping our customers happy, they will be the mouthpiece for
Yes.
us. Your
Yeah.
customers are your marketers, but also you need to just be casually stepping into the conversation. And again, not hard selling. It's not like you don't give people ick,
Yes.
but you come in and you're like, oh my God, people really
Mhm.
love this Airbnb because XYZ happened, right? And sometimes, and what we're seeing a lot more of lately, it's even the influencers or the advocates of the brand who are going in and answering those questions. So I have a good friend, Goldie Chan. She owns a company called Warm Robots, and she was hired by Adobe as an influencer. What's really interesting and one of the trends we're seeing in social care is that they are now having their influencers or advocates go on with them while they run through a new program or service. And the influencer or the advocate is now answering those customer service questions, right? So the whole idea is
Huh.
because we know more and more people are going to social to have these conversations,
Yeah.
how can we proactively, as the brand, meet them there? And the rub in that is that, there's an inherent mismatch between
Mhm.
corporate and social because your employees live through Friday, 9 to 5, and social lives 24/7.
Sure.
So that's why companies like mine exist to come in and like fill those gaps
Yeah.
for those companies and make sure that that conversation is happening literally all the time.
That's wild. Okay, I have many thoughts. One, Adobe's paying influencers. Cool. Two,
Yes.
I'm like, they have an influencer budget? Everybody run.
Uh-huh.
Two, the fact that they're having people who are not representatives of the company still speak on behalf of the company. I'm like, oh, like, did they give her training? Did they give her
Mhm.
legally approved language? Like, how does one also do that? And I'm sure you're going to have the same scenario within your services. Like, how do you still guardianship the brand and its
Yes.
voice so that you don't
Yeah.
say the wrong thing?
What I love about our clients is that they are very modern in their thinking, right?
Okay.
So it's not like we're just working with social media. We're working with social media, with marketing, with sales, with
Okay.
HR, with legal, with product
Cool.
development, that we're breaking down silos to make sure that you do have that holistic customer journey happening. We have those guardrails in place that have been improved by legal, but legal's also bought in. They
Yes.
understand that we can't copy and paste the way legal wants us to say it. We have a little bit of leeway in there so that these people know they're talking to humans and not bots because some of the recent reports that come out, I think Wall Street Journal had an article today or yesterday actually that was talking about how people are very upset about the use of bots being implemented
Mm.
for customer experience for their customers' digital journey. And people aren't happy because these bots weren't tested. They're not answering frequently
They're
asked
not.
questions.
Yeah.
They're not giving empathy. Like there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And I think we all jumped into the AI bed and said, woohoo, like we're going to save all this money. And really what we've done is pissed off the customer, which is the last thing you want to
Yeah.
do.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I feel like I've been on almost every website that I've been on this week where I needed something. They were all bots.
Yeah.
And even the bot told me that they were offline. Like, I'm like, what? The bot checks
The
out?
bot has to sleep. Since when does the bot
Like,
need rest?
I
Like,
was
I don't
so mad.
understand.
I was like, how dare? Like, now I'm like that entitled Karen. I'm like, how dare you?
How
Like, I was so mad.
It's true though. Like we want self-service, and I think self-service and like FAQ bots or frequently asked question bots are fantastic because literally they should have 100% uptime
Yeah.
with 100% accuracy,
Yeah.
right? That is amazing. Yes, everybody should invest in that type of bot. However,
Yeah.
if someone needs a human, you need to have that human readily available for that person. And if it's not, I realize not everybody could be available 24/7 because
Yeah.
as humans, we do have to sleep. However, if you could have your bot even say, like, our humans are sleeping right now, but
Mhm.
somebody from our team will be back to you
Mhm.
before 10 a.m. tomorrow morning or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then as long as you follow through on that promise, nobody's mad.
True.
Nobody's mad. 9 out of 10 times, the customer just wants to know that you're listening to what they are saying. You're communicating with them.
Okay, so I saw you speak on stage when we both spoke at PSNI in May in Miami, and I love your examples. And I'm a very visual person. I think a lot of visionaries love examples as well. I want you to kind of like paint like best case scenario and like worst case scenario, like where this kind of social care on the customer side like was wildly advantageous, like hero of the story type of situation, but then also like wah wah, like this is what you should never be like or do. I would just love to hear your stories.
Yeah. So for the great example, I'll give you one of our clients. They sell printers. We all have printers,
Sexy.
even if we work at
Yeah.
home. It's like not sexy, but sometimes we still have to print stuff out. I don't know why, but we do. Okay. For that one time a month, you have to print something.
Yeah.
You need a printer. So I'll give you the example of acquisition inside of social care. Veronica comes to that brand's Facebook page and she says, "Hey, is your printer compatible with Alexa?" Talking about a printer model. We come through, we see that, and immediately within 5 minutes, maybe less, we're saying, "Hey, Veronica, it sure is. Here's a video on how that works. Let us know what you think." Now, 9 times out of 10, Veronica's going to go watch that video and she's going to be like, "Cool." And she's not going to come back to the conversation.
Mhm.
And this is so important in social selling.
Mhm.
Interest does not equal intent.
Ooh.
Just because you were interested doesn't mean you have the intent to buy, right? So we're very big on intent signals. If Veronica comes back and says, "Oh my gosh, that was way cooler than I ever thought it was going to be."
Yes.
Now we have
Yeah.
an intent signal.
Okay.
And now we can say, "Isn't it so rad? By the way, I'm not supposed to do this, but if you buy that printer within the next 30 days, I'll use this code and we'll send you a free ink pack."
What?
Right? So now if Veronica buys that printer, guess what happens? Your social
Mhm.
care team and social media marketing gets the points for that revenue.
Mhm.
Right? You're starting to quantify for the C-suite and your stakeholders how important social actually is because a lot of them still don't believe it.
True.
That's the best case scenario, right?
I love that.
The worst case scenario, which is real. This is real. I have this in my book.
Tell me.
There's this hair brand that I love. I love you so much, Kerastase, but you know this is real. So Kerastase is a hair brand.
Yeah,
I love.
I know. My hairstylist. That's
Amazing
yeah,
products.
what
They
they use.
smell so good.
Mhm.
And I'm perusing social media for my book for examples, for visuals. And I see this woman tweet them and say, "Hey, Kerastase, I have all this product in my cart and it won't let me check out." Like literally somebody's like, "Hi, I'm trying to spend lots of
Hundreds of
money
dollars,
with you
yeah.
and I can't for some reason. Can you
Yeah.
help me
Yeah,
out?"
yeah, yeah.
Nobody responded. A week later, this customer is this is the customer you want, y'all, because apparently a week later, she's not upset. She's like, "Hi,
Still
I
here.
still can't seem to check out and buy all of these amazing, expensive products from you." No response. Like that And this is reactive. We're not even talking about getting proactive yet. In both of these examples, the customers come to us. So the fact that today in 2024, your customers are literally trying to spend money with you on social and you're not helping
It's
them
true.
spend that
It's
money,
true.
it's
It's true.
like
Literally,
mind
it's
blowing.
true. I'm this is way TMI, but we're just gonna go there.
Go do it.
I'm doing this like 8-week fitness thing with a group of like 6 of us. It's like a really
Ooh.
small little group. So give me a
Uh-huh.
couple weeks and my gun's like, Anyways, give me a sec. But we were joking around like when you're cold and you're wearing your sports bra and like all that. We're just teasing, right?
Yes.
Like having fun and just, when one's awake, one's not awake.
Mhm.
And so then I was like, hey guys, have you seen that company on Instagram? There's an Instagram ad. It's called Cakes
Cakes.
Yes.
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 I've seen it.
Yes. Okay. So my poor male listeners, it's basically a silicone covering for the ladies above.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it replaces these really awkward inserts that we as women find in our sports
The
bras and our
chicken
bathing
cutlets.
suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the things. And so I purchased it like weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and I love them and I swear by them. And it's like, oh, I love them.
Good to
And
know.
so, but I saw it on an ad, and I was telling all the girls. Then I'm like, oh, hold on. And I actually had saved the ad on one of my saved Instagram, and then I shared it with the entire group. Like I'm like, I'm not even getting paid to do this.
You're like advocating for this brand. Yeah.
But it's just a testament to the fact that like social media selling and purchasing and all of that is so flipping true. I just bought another thing on social media for my hair. It's like, gosh, and then I can't wait to tell everybody about it. But you're right though, when it's like it is happening. We know this for a fact, it's happening organically. I think what I love about you and what you do at your agency is that you're putting yourself in the middle of the conversation and not, and like, again, the word that I love more than anything is intentionality.
Intent signals.
Yes.
We rebuilt the flywheel. Have you read Jim Collins's book From Good to Great?
Yes,
Okay, a lot of people have. He had this amazing flywheel. He talks about how it's like self-propelling growth, blah, blah, blah. We rebuilt the flywheel specific to social, and we put conversations in the middle. If you want self-propelling growth, and I'm not talking follower growth, we need to stop building follower bases and start building customer bases on social. But if you want that forward growth, you've got to have conversations in the middle of your flywheel, which means you have to be soliciting and joining, meaning asking for and joining in on those conversations as your brand.
Hey Rainmakers, it's Veronica, and we'll get back to today's episode. But before that, I have an exciting invitation for all of you aspiring, ambitious marketing leaders. If you are serious about advancing your career in marketing and you're looking for an expert to give you some personal insights, guidance, tips, then I'm going to invite you to schedule a free Pathway to Promotion call with me. This is a special one-on-one call with just you and me to discuss your current roadblocks in your career, your long-term aspirations and ambition, and the next best step for you and your personal promotion. Head to pathwaycall.com or click the link in my show notes to schedule your free Pathway to Promotion call. Now back to today's episode. My immediate first question is like, at what point is a company too small for what you're talking about? Like, what is
No one's too small.
Okay, talk to me.
Like, here's what I say. Like, if people aren't talking about your brand yet, that's fine. But guess what your first order of business is? Get people talking. Right. So can I get nerdy on you for like
please,
90 seconds?
Please.
Okay. So I did my undergraduate thesis study on a social theory. It's called the social penetration theory. Obviously not named by marketers and named by social psychologists. But this was way back in the 70s, right? And what they said is basically we grow and nurture relationships and build trust through self-disclosure. If I disclose information to Veronica and she likes what I'm saying, she discloses information to me. We go back and forth until we form a relationship and we trust each other. My study looked at, can we do this as brands on social media as a medium? And what I found was, yes, you absolutely can. However, in those 4 levels of disclosures, there's cliches, facts, opinions, feelings. Cliches and facts do hardly anything, basically nothing to move the relationship forward, to build trust and loyalty. Opinions and feelings are where all of that is happening. If you go look at most branded content, so I'm talking to you, small brands who are like, nobody's talking about me yet. That is probably because your content is mostly cliche and fact content.
Yeah.
If you do not have opinion and feeling content, meaning sharing your own opinions and feelings as a brand, which sounds woo-woo, but it's not. It's real, right? Look, there's lots of brands who do it really well. Patagonia is my favorite example.
Thank you.
If you are not sharing opinions and feelings and you are not asking for the opinions and feelings of your customers and would-be customers for that voice of customer data, that's what you need to do first.
I love Patagonia. That's a great example. The other one, I was like, when we were talking earlier too, Wendy's. Have you seen how Wendy's will troll?
Yes. Yeah. And not everybody can do that, but they
Yeah.
can. And
Yeah.
it's so great, right? Another great brand is REI. I don't know what it is
Yes.
about like that outdoor sportswear, but they
Yeah.
put a post out recently that got like, I want to say it was over 800 comments, and it said, "Can you go stand on a mountaintop and not say wow for $100,000?" And basically everybody in the comment section was like, "Nope,
Nope.
can't do
Yeah.
it." You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that is such a great example of opinion
Yes.
content, right? They're
Yeah.
asking the opinion of these people, and 800 people decided to weigh in on the conversation. Had nothing to do with buying their clothes, but it's all about standing on a mountaintop. And what do you do when you stand on a mountaintop? You wear your outdoor clothing.
This is like wildly validating for me in so many ways because just this week I decided to retire my 2-year newsletter,
Oh,
but it was more
I'm
marketing
sorry.
information based. I know I've mourned it. It's okay. And then the next day I announced what's replacing it, and it's not to be cheeky, but it's like the weekly dose of vitamin V.
Oh, I like
But
it.
the reason I can't take credit for the name, was actually one of my former rainmakers who named it. But the reason that I did this adjustment was because I'm like, look, there's a ton of brilliant marketing newsletters that is like sharing all the recent trends
Yeah.
and information. The world doesn't need more information from Veronica Romney. The world needs perspective that only I can provide.
We are data rich,
Yes.
but we're insights poor.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Less data, more insights. And that
Exactly.
you can take that any way you want. Maybe it just means more personality. Maybe it means less cliche content, right? But like, I love that because that's
Yeah.
exactly what you're doing.
And it feels, honestly, like it feels so good to just take off the burden of having to be like the news. Let the news do the news. Let BuzzFeed do BuzzFeed. Let everybody, like the
Yeah.
Morning Brew and all the, like, let them do them.
Yeah.
But when I have when I get spicy and the Latina finger starts to come, that's what my husband says, like when the finger comes out, like everybody duck, everybody just get down. Like, right.
Run.
But like when I get fired up about, people stealing other people's marketing strategies, or, like right now there's going to be a newsletter of vitamin V next week because I'm just kind of mad about the fact that, like, I do think what's popular right now is this do less revolution, and I'm here for it in some regards because everybody's burned the F out. But if Netflix is doubling and tripling all of their promotional effort and launching to have a net the same results, how do we think as small business owners that we're going to be able to pull off doing less and achieve more like that? And I think there's some people who are propagating that message, which I think is radically unethical and misleading. So I get mad, right?
Yes.
And I think people want to have that conversation. So I want to ask you, because I told you, I'm like, I really want to, what makes Brooke mad right now, whether it's in regard to your profession, social media, AI, whatever, but like, let's have honest conversations about what makes you mad.
What makes me mad, and I mean mad. I don't get the finger, but I get the neck going, get like chicken neck. Let me tell you what makes me mad. I'm mad at the bus hopping marketers. I have been a social media marketer from the beginning.
Yes.
I've always had the customer first. I didn't know it was called social care until like 8 years ago or so, but I've always had this, this is my lane. I'm going to stay in it. I'm mad at the marketers who are like, I'm all about personal branding. Oh, no, wait. I'm all about community, when community was a buzzword 2 years ago. Oh, no, wait. I'm all about AI because AI is the buzzword right now. Like, you can't, I don't stand behind that, because if you're hopping from bus to bus every 2 years, how on earth can you be an expert in your field if you're not a practitioner? And to be a practitioner, you have to be in it, I feel, for more than 2 years.
Well, and it goes back to, I want to say it's either Jay Acunzo who has said this, or maybe even Andrew Davis, because I know they both kind of have this belief system, but it's like, investigative journalism. Like you
Yeah.
have been investigating social media for how long? And we're
Over
still not
15
done,
years.
right? We're
Yeah.
still not done, right? It's
Right.
like I joke, but like me and marketing have been in a long-term relationship for the past 16 years. Like this is, other than my husband, like this is it, right?
This is
And
your
so
longest
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're right though. And I, gosh, as soon as you said that, like I had like three faces that popped up into my mental, movie
Mhm.
theater, and I'm not going
We
to name
all know who they
names.
are.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just really aggravating. It is aggravating. And I vacillate because like, and part of me is like, look, I can appreciate everybody's hustle and everybody's doing their best to survive. I get that. But when you are consistently jumping from bandwagon to bandwagon, like, what are you, a groupie, a marketing groupie? Like, what is
Yeah.
happening here?
You're serving yourself.
Yeah,
You're not
well,
serving your audience because your audience, I'm assuming, stood on whatever platform you stood on first. And then you switched.
yeah,
And like maybe you gained some, maybe you lost some, but I don't know. I just feel like we are very the same in that
yeah,
we are really, truly customer centric. And
yeah.
I guess like I get mad at anything that isn't because your business does not run without customers. It
Mm,
boggles my mind that we don't put more effort into not just acquisition, but retention.
yeah,
Not enough companies even think about the retention part of what we do on social. And it's crazy how when you're solving a customer's problem on their channel of choice and not making them go somewhere else and not making them press numbers on a telephone or
yeah.
go through 6 different people, they really appreciate it.
Mm.
So, yeah, I
Good.
guess that's what fires me
Get
up.
it, Brooke. Get it. Get it. Well, okay, let's flip the question. What makes you probably the most excited about the
Mm,
future and what's coming? Like, where do you find opportunity that lies beyond, you know what I mean? Even for you personally,
yeah.
like as a thought leader,
Yeah.
as an author, as a podcast host, like, where are you personally most excited for your future in this profession, but also for anybody listening?
Here's where I really do love AI. We are working on a program right now that's looking at these conversations that we're having with these customers, well,
Yeah.
customers of our customers on social. And, once we identify like this is acquisition, this is retention, right? We're able to do that. Once we identify, like, okay, the Veronica example that we gave with that printer, she's interested, she's in acquisition conversation, and the MSRP of that item is X.
Right.
Once we start to quantify, like, okay, we have $1 million a month sitting on social on all of our channels for this particular printer, right? We can then see if Veronica used that code to
Mm-hmm.
close the deal.
Sure.
And now we have, okay, we had $1 million sitting on there and then we closed 250,
Yeah.
right? What we are looking at building with AI is a program that's saying, hey, when you're talking about this product and you use these words with this promo, you have a 10x chance of closing the deal. Now we're talking, right? We're
Yes.
using AI to make what we do better. We're not
Yes.
taking the humans away, but we're using the AI to help our customer meet their goal of essentially more revenue
Mm-hmm.
by
Mm-hmm.
still being human and using AI to make us
Mm-hmm.
smarter.
Make it, well, I mean, yeah, it's business intelligence on steroids is what AI is going to do for a lot of us,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's not bandwagony. I'm still
Yes.
sticking to what I believe
Yes.
in, but I'm
Yes.
using
It's a
AI to make
tool.
what I believe
Yep.
in better, right?
Yep.
It's just a tool to
It's
make
a
us
tool.
better.
It's a tool to magnify what you're already doing. It's not a
Yeah.
tool that is now your identity.
Yep.
Okay, I have a question because like you brought up social selling and we're talking about it I think a lot in like maybe potentially in a B2B conversation, corporate
Mm.
conversation.
Mhm.
I work with a lot of online personalities, big podcasters, big content creators and influencers and book authors and course creators, like that, this
Yeah.
category, right? That I have found myself to be in the last couple of years. And they'll hire physical, human beings to be social sellers
Mhm.
during launches. So like they're doing a big promotion, they
Yes.
want to sell their $2,000 course. The
Mhm.
open cart window is a 14-day window, open close cart, and they want these. They're either going to be called social concierge, really they're social sellers.
Social
And
sellers,
then
yeah.
the idea is that like, hey, I'm responsible for 50 of you in the Facebook group, and I'm responsible for 50 of you, and I'm going to just be in your DMs asking what you think, what you think. They're not as effective as they used to be because now everybody seems to have like caught on to this concept. I desperately
Yes.
want to change. Like I would love to like insert Brooke. Like how do you replace that? Or how like
Yeah.
What would you advise those people? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I have a healthcare client
Okay, so
who
you
has
know.
me come out and
Uh-huh.
train their social marketers,
Okay, so
their
you
social
know.
sellers. Yeah. And I tell them the same thing. Like, they're also, this group of people moved away from that whole conversation that they were doing in the beginning that was working so well. And I think it's pressure from the company or the,
Sure.
whoever is at the top is like,
Sure.
hey, scan more badges, sell more tickets, do more things, which means less conversation.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, what I have found is if you, again, put that conversation in the middle of the flywheel, focus on the connection, the conversation, the conversions will come. Because what ends up happening with these social sellers that I'm talking about, I won't name the company because I love them very much, but I'll say, how many of you are actually responding to every single comment that you get? In all of that work that you're doing to go push conversations in the DMs or put that content out, how many of you are responding and none of them? They're like, oh, I don't have time for that. Okay, well, then you don't have time to sell and make money
Oh,
because that's where
man.
it's coming from. And that's what you're missing. They've gone away from the conversation and they're focusing on the content. The content is like the AI. It is the tool to help the conversation. You are looking at it backwards. So that would be it's not about the content. It's about the conversation.
Again, extremely validating because I think there was well, and I want to be fair. The bigger you get, the more that your DMs kind of explode.
Yes.
So
yes.
Realistically, if you want to have a life, I get that
Yeah.
maybe possibly not every conversation or every DM can be responded to.
Sure.
So then a lot of people rush to get service providers or softwares to do that work for them. And then what happens is their algorithm is like, hey,
you're
this
using
seems
a
yes.
tool.
And so then, I don't know how long I'm going to hold out or how long I can hold out, but
Right.
to this day, I still email back the emails I receive. I'm
Same.
still the only one in the DMs on my social media.
Same. I know. And that takes up a lot of our time.
It does. It does.
Then I would say get someone who can help you in your voice. You could here's another place you could use AI, feed it all sorts of Veronica content so that it could sounds like you. And then your, responding person, your social responder could sound just like you. Or if you want to play it even more transparent, like, hey, Veronica has a ton of messages. I'm Brooke. I'm her assistant. I help her respond. Thank you so much for your comment. I, deliver all of these in a summary to Veronica any day. If at any time you have something that you want to speak to her specifically about, come back, comment, let me know it's something that you want an answer from Veronica on, and I'll make sure she gets it.
I love that. Again, transparency is integrity, right? So being transparent about even your internal infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think people actually find it like a little bit of Wizard of Wizard of
Man
Oz,
behind the
you're
curtain.
behind the curtain. Yeah. You're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's terrifying to me, speaking of AI, because I think I use it every day.
Sure.
Paid member. Got my little AI badge. But the thing that I think is terrifying me, even in the podcast softwares that we use, is create your voice, your AI voice. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So we tease the Tom Cruise deep fakes,
Yes.
But now your AI can record an entire podcast in your voice without you doing it.
Can I give some advice here?
Please, because people need to hear this.
Okay. Ethan Mollick, who is at the University of Pennsylvania, he's probably one of the leading authorities on AI, said absolutely do not let AI clone your voice.
Good.
Because there's a lot of banking systems that now use voice recognition to log into things. Don't do it, people. It's not worth it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Spend the 30 minutes to record your own podcast.
Thank you.
It's not worth it because with all of the voice things that are coming out and deep fakes, like you said, I will not train AI on my voice. It won't happen.
Well, look at the lawsuit because they Scarlett Johansson. It's a whole thing.
Sky. Yes. And that, by the way, that is her voice. It sounds just like her.
100% it is. Hello.
Yeah.
She knows that. We know Scarlett's voice.
I think I recognize that as my voice.
Please. Please. Okay. First of all, you're lovely, you're
Thank you.
charming, your
Thank you.
beauty and your grace.
Oh.
Miss United States. Like, you're just
Let me
fantastic.
start like ugly crying as you put on the crown.
Yeah, like, get the flowers. Like, no, you're a great speaker because I got a chance to speak with you. Like, you're a phenomenal speaker.
Thank
You're a
you.
great service provider. You're a great agency owner. Like, what you're doing is unlike what most people do or consider social media to be leveraged for. And I think that's just really intoxicating. So, like, all the business your way. Speaking of
Thank you.
business, how do people get a hold of you? And then you get to ask me the last question.
Oh my God, I have so many questions. You can find me at Brooke Sellas, Brooke, last name Sellas. Literally Google it. I think I'm the only Brooke Sellas on the planet
Mm-hmm.
thus far.
Mm-hmm.
My company is B Squared Media. It's a not com, so it's B Squared dot media. And if you're brave enough, reach out on LinkedIn, connect with me, and let's start a conversation. I'm
Let's
always
talk.
happy to chat with people because I'm so passionate about what we do.
Love it.
And my question for you, Veronica, it really is speaking. Like, I want to
Okay.
know you, like, that is your superpower, seeing you on
Oh,
stage. So, like, because I have like a persona that I have to slip into.
yes.
Do you have a
Yes.
persona,
Of
or is this like
course.
you naturally?
No,
So you
not
still
this
get
one.
nervous.
Oh, yeah. Terrified.
Like, it does not register. Not if you've
Look,
seen this lady speak.
I'm not like, oh gosh, Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, he literally vomits before every game. And I
Uh-huh.
think Adele and Bono do this. I've heard those rumors
Oh,
too.
wow.
So, like, I don't think you're really good at what you do if you no longer get nervous by the craft. Because
Oh, I love
here's
that.
why: the
Okay.
nerves are different. So, like, when I first started speaking, it was like, oh shit, 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 shit. Like, can I get the words out? Am I going to stumble?
Yes.
Is my voice going to be shaky? Da, 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 da. Like that, it was a lot of like beginner nerves of like, can I pull this off, imposter syndrome,
Yes.
or some version of that. Now I still get like, I actually took supplement. I have calming supplements that I take because I'm so nervous. They're like, what are they called? Like homeopathic stuff. So I'll give it
Yeah.
to you afterwards.
Okay.
I'm not trying to influence you, but I'll influence you. Anyways, so I have like a Beyonce playlist, right? So
Oh, I
music,
love it. Okay.
100%.
Sasha Fierce.
Every time I wear my Spanx, it's like game time. So there's
Yes.
literally clothing choices that I'm making to step
Yes.
into that.
Okay.
I do have my little routines, my homeopathic whatever supplements, things like that. But when I get nervous now or terrified, like that May opening keynote, I was scared for months,
What?
months,
No, you were
because
so just she grabbed everyone right
no, no,
away and
no,
had them the
no,
whole time. Yeah.
because now it's not nerves from not knowing what I'm doing. It's nerves to make sure that I live up to the hype.
You care. You care.
It's like I was thinking. I don't. Me and Tom Cruise are not friends, but I was thinking about this. I'm like, can you imagine the pressure on that person to come out 20 years later with Top Gun, the sequel, after so many years, after so many. He got pitched multiple scripts
Mhm.
because and like the pressure to be top box office and not even like not millions anymore now it's
Oh,
billion.
yeah.
You're either billions of dollars or you're nothing. It's that type of like ceiling for these big movies. And his movie was supposed to release during COVID, and he specifically filmed the movie with IMAX cameras so that you would see it in IMAX quality in a movie theater that nobody could go to. So he held the movie back,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just that whole story around that. And I can't even imagine the pressure to live up to the hype. That's kind of how I feel. It's like, if people say I'm a good speaker, damn, I better be a good speaker. If I'm an
Yeah.
opening keynoter, damn, I better set the tone for the rest of you guys. Like,
You
it's
did.
the pressure to be
To
excellent.
deliver. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I'm terrified. It's a
That is your
different.
brand promise.
Yes,
And you
yes,
just want to make sure that you're fulfilling
yes,
that brand promise. And that
yes,
is what I love. The
yes,
brands who get that, like, we have to deliver our brand promise more urgently before, will be long-lasting brands.
yes. Well, knock on wood. I'm doing another keynote. I'm doing another opening keynote in Vegas in October, and it's June, and I'm already
You're gonna
scared.
crush
Like,
it.
I'm
You're
already
gonna
scared.
crush it.
I'm already
I
scared.
already know. You don't even have to tell me. You can just call me on speed dial. I'll hype
No,
you
you're
up.
so sweet. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your affirmation. I appreciate the praise. I receive that. Thank you. I'll take that. But yes, I think when you genuinely care, you should be nervous. When you genuinely care, you should, I mean, like, you just want to do the best damn job possible.
Yeah.
And that, like, I tell my son, my little boy, I'm like, integrity is when doing the right thing when no one's watching and no one's looking. It's kind of the same thing. Like, even if nobody held the standard for you and I, we hold the standard for ourselves. And
Yeah.
that's a different type of person. Do you know?
Yeah. I agree. Well, this is why you said you go to the networking events. So like you're
Yes.
paid to go do that speech.
Mm-hmm.
We are paid to go do those speeches.
Mm-hmm.
But we hang around and we hang out because we don't want to just be
Mm-hmm. That person.
that person.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Brooke, thank you so very much for your genius, your generosity. You weren't even feeling well. Nobody could even tell because you're that pro.
Thank
But
you.
thank you so much for being on today's Rainmaker podcast.
Thank you for having me. I adore you. So keep on keeping on.
Thank you for joining us on today's Rainmaker podcast. Marketers help other marketers. So if there's a marketer in your life who could really use a new perspective in a way that helps them advance their career, please pass this episode forward, share, leave us a review. Everything helps as we embark on helping as many marketers elevate themselves inside and out. You can always visit veronicarami.com for today's show notes, additional links to some free resources and tools for you to help you advance your career. You can always connect with us on social media at @ViaRomney if you want more behind the scenes or a way for us to connect personally. Until next time, my friends, make it rain.